if we have a look over here, I'm going to toot my own horn. I'm not going to stand up and do a dance like Cade. Let me just put it out there. I'm not happy that this failed. I just knew that it was going to fail. And I told you 100% unequivocally before this happened that it was a complete and utter waste of $6 million. I was hoping that it wouldn't fail, even though I knew it would, because in the end of the day, we keep saying we want to bridge the gap between Web2 and Web3. And, these guys were trying to achieve that. But unfortunately, the execution was not there. I think the target market was not there, and it really, really didn't work out well. The first criticism is that it was a 10,000 NFT collection, of which only 4,000 were actually available to the public. That's number one. So why spend so much money to target the public and not have more NFTs available to them? The second thing is that when you went through to the QR code, if you did manage to get to the site, which a lot of people didn't, but if you did, you needed a wallet. And the average Web2 person does not have a crypto wallet. So their plan was not anyway conducive to being able to get these NFTs into Web2 people's hands. I know a lot of people who didn't realize, and they went home, like Web3 people who didn't realize and then went home 20 minutes later and were still able to claim it because all 60 million viewers didn't have a crypto wallet. And even though a lot of them scanned their QR code, they didn't know what a crypto wallet was. So these didn't end up going into the hands of the people that they were intended to go up into. Also, their advert was subpar. Yes, it was a gaming type advert, but it didn't really capture the attention of a new market. And we have seen, unfortunately, the effects of this in the floor price across the entire ecosystem. The whole Digidaigaku ecosystem has really taken a knock. Gabe here is doing a noble thing in that he's trying to onboard Web2 people into Web3. He wants gaming to move to Web3, and I'm grateful that we have people like him doing that. However, this was not the way, and unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, I was right. They completely threw away $6 million and possibly more because of the reputational damage that's been done.
Yeah, this was probably the worst thing that they could have done. Like it was painfully bad. I could not believe that it redirected them to his Twitter. And I know a lot of people were upset because they were like, this was our chance to get in front of the world. You were supposed to do this. You were supposed to do that. And to those people, I say, well, first off, fuck off, because the man spent $7 million for his brand. So of course he's going to put his brand first. However, there was about 100 different things he could have done, and he picked none of them, and he chose to instead just link it to a random page with a QR code. It was terrible, dude. Why would you copy the exact same strategy that Coinbase did? Coinbase had people sign up or whatever. It was like the biggest fucking worst. It was like terrible, dude. I don't know. When you have an ad like that, if you're gonna spend $7 million on an ad, you can't only have that available. There's no value exchange there. The only people who win is you. That's completely opposite of what Web3 is about. So if they were gonna do a Super Bowl ad and they're like, well, it's gonna be selfish too because we're the ones paying $7 million. Like, okay, I'm cool with that. But you got to have something to offer them. And, in their head, they're like, yeah, but they're going to get a free NFT. I'm like, nobody's going to get a free NFT. It's going to be a couple people like Nick who are ready for it, prepared. And they were going to get it and they're going to sell the top and everybody else.
Yeah. So why target the Web2 market and spend $6 million when you could just target the Web3 market?
I think they have a lot of fucking money, dude. I think they have so much money.
Bro, you don't have to throw it away. I'm sorry. They do have a lot of money, but you don't have to throw it away. I mean, in the end of the day, listen, we haven't given this a second thought. But I mean, just off the top of my head, have a fucking form that someone fills out their name, their email address, their surname, and that's it. And then after the fact, okay, we got 2 million names. We are gonna give 100,000 NFTs. We're gonna do a live stream where we're randomly selecting names. Everyone's gonna get an email with instructions on how to claim the NFT in their own time. It like whatever. If you want to onboard the masses, they did everything wrong. Everything wrong. Why spend $7 million and not even spend half like $5,000 in thinking about it, how to do it properly? Now I'm sure they did think about it, but if this is the best that they could come up with, it's a pity because it's a lot of money. Even if you have a lot of money, $7 million is a lot of money.
Dude, that was very well put. The strategy you just gave was really fucking smart. I'm surprised they didn't come up with that, getting their email addresses because now that's forever.
Yeah.
Now it's
And
for
then you've
everybody.
got that email address, and it allows you to roll it out at the right time without the person. So the person's entered, and now they get an email a few days later. Look, you got a week. This is how you can claim it if you won, and so on and so forth. Look, I don't charge $7 million for consulting. Something like that, a half an hour consultation to come up with something like that, you'd be looking at about $2,000, $3,000. And if you plan on spending $7 million, that $3,000 could make that $7 million go a lot further. So if you need anything, feel free to contact me, coldud@iafrica.com.
Yeah, that was rough, dude. I have a hard time coming with anything positive as well. Crypto Dream, I see your comment there. There was not a whole lot great about that. I swear to fucking God, we need to hash this out right here, right now. Was the ad not publicly stated that it would be at the halftime show? I swear to God that I went through a Mandela effect here, because I was 1000% sure it was at halftime. So sure, in fact, that instead of watching the first half, which I was gonna do, I ended up instead walking around and getting stoned and going to the gym and getting food, because that was the plan if I didn't watch the first half. And I'm out there chilling, eating Chipotle, and I get all these Twitter notifications about people, oh, I missed it. And I was like, wait, what? Missed what? And I was like, oh, there must have been like an extra benefit or an extra credit thing earlier. And then I was like, oh, well, I'll still make it for the halftime show. Come back, and everyone's like, no, there is no halftime thing. And I was like,
Look, I didn't hear that it was going to be halftime. I don't know that they specified. I don't know if they know before. Another thing that Gabe did was he tweeted the link before the advert showed.
oh, we did?
Yeah, like a few seconds before. What's the point of spending $7 million to get a new target market, and then you tweet out the link to the Web3 market? I don't understand. This is mind blowing to me. It was mind blowing before, even if they had a form and collected names, and yeah, the chances of. But I mean, this was really, really bad. And again, I mean, I'm not happy about it. I love Web3, and here's a company that's trying to move us forward. I just wish it's sort of like the Porsche feeling, the way Porsche rolled out. I just wish they had chosen a different approach and done it better, because it was such an opportunity, such a wasted opportunity.
So here's what I think we can do. So this stream is perfect because I feel like we're saying what needs to be said. The only thing, because we can have an impact on this for sure, like for a fact, because I know I've had a couple of companies reach out that were from the normal world that were really successful, that they saw my random YouTube videos, like got 400 views kind of thing. And it's possible, but like we have to be actually making that content so they're aware of it. I feel like a lot of people on Twitter are screaming and shouting about it, maybe even having, some TikToks or videos. But I feel like if you want these people to see it, I still believe that YouTube might be the best. Like maybe TikTok too, but I still feel like YouTube videos, making a dedicated video. Like yesterday, I filmed one about, and I used the UFC as an example, and I used Rug Radio as an example of a decentralized media ecosystem that everyone is elevated and raised. They all have their own autonomous hosts that do their own thing, in the same way that the UFC has their own autonomous athletes. Even though they're all under contract, they all can do their side gigs, they can have their side businesses, but everybody wins. The UFC has this whole inbound of people that anyways, I made this whole video, and the intention there was to be like, yo, here's an example of how they could do it, blah blah blah. But then it was also like, yo, hopefully the UFC or someone who watches the UFC or works the UFC sees this video, gets an idea, and says, wait, we haven't thought about it that way. We're actually working on it right now. We've been working on it for 6 months behind the scenes. We should call him and see what else he has to say. I think there's a lot of power in that, and I don't think that they're going to know about it unless we people like us actually making that content. So for anyone here who's a content creator, I say make that video and just put it out there. Even if it gets 12 views, one of those 12 views might be someone who works at the UFC. So I want these people to see it, and I want Disney to see it. I want Starbucks to see it. So I'm going to be making videos to these companies as well, in hopes that they see it. To try and bring a little bit more quality, because yeah, you're right. We've seen a bunch of dud projects from some of the top companies that should not have dud projects. I think they did it too early. And because they did it too early, they also did it wrong. And if they were going to do it early, there's a way that you have to do it. And it's not going to be conducive, or it's not going to be like in line with what they probably should do. But if they're going to be this early, they have to kind of go in with the Web3 mentality of like what Web3 is today. If they want to do what Web3 is going to be in 5 years, that's fine. But they just need to be like more educated on like what's working, what's not, what people like, and where we are at the current state of the NFT market, because there's a certain set of values and things that people are looking for today that they will not be looking for next year when we're here doing this stream in a year from now or 2 years from now. It won't be the same conversations likely. And I just want these companies to like know what's good, because in my personal opinion, there's just no way that like a random PFP project that was started in Web3 with the only benefit of being in there is the fact that it was a Web3 company. But if someone like a Disney or a bigger company comes through, they actually have resources and they actually have a value exchange that people want. Like, for example, if Disney threw an event, people will go because they get the value of it being a Disney event and they like Disney and they have, you know, probably their whole lifetime watching Disney videos versus a random PFP project that dropped 6 months ago that you spent $150 to mint. There's no thing keeping you there. And so the lifespan of those projects compared to the Disney, compared to the UFC, companies like that, it's just very slim. So if you want to like insert yourself in a good position, you want to obviously have a personal brand, but you want to have a brand where they're like, yo, that person's fucking smart. We need to have a contact with that person. And yeah, that's just